Welcome back to Interview Mock Lab Podcast. Today we're tackling one of the most pivotal yet often overlooked moments in any job interview. You know the one. When the interviewer turns to you and asks, "Do you have any questions for me?" For many, this is maybe just a polite formality, right? A quick glance at a pre-written list, but we're here to tell you that this isn't just an opportunity. It's your secret weapon. We're going to show you how to transform this critical moment into your biggest chance to shine, really demonstrate your value, and, importantly, figure out if this role is actually the right fit for you.
Absolutely. Think of it this way. While your answers to their questions are definitely important, the questions you ask, they're often far more memorable to hiring managers. Our research, looking at thousands of interviews, it consistently shows that thoughtfully crafted questions leave a real lasting impression. They reveal your critical thinking, your genuine interest, and your strategic approach. It's not about just having a question ready. It's about having exceptionally insightful questions, the kind that lift you above other candidates.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. Why is that final invitation to ask questions considered so, well, important in the whole interview process? What makes it so pivotal?
What's truly fascinating here is how employers actually interpret your questions. They see it as a direct window into how engaged you are with the opportunity and your ability to think beyond just the surface level. If you don't ask anything, well, it can unfortunately send a signal, maybe that you're, desperate, willing to take any job. Or maybe worse, that you haven't really done your homework to critically evaluate the fit from your side. It can suggest a lack of intellectual curiosity. But asking insightful questions, that shows you're vetting them just as much as they're vetting you. And that's really the mark of a high-value candidate.
That makes perfect sense. It's almost like a strategic counter move, isn't it? I often think of it as one of the essential bookends of the interview, along with that initial "tell me about yourself" opener. Both are moments where you actually have immense control over the narrative. So the key takeaway for you, listening right now, is to walk into every interview prepared. Have at least 3 truly thoughtful, impactful questions ready to go. This isn't just about covering bases. It's really about making a statement.
Right. So let's get into the specifics now. What are some of the most impactful questions we can ask? Questions that really reveal what we need to know, but also at the same time impress the interviewer. Let's start by focusing on the role itself. That's why you're there, after all.
Okay, a really powerful starting point, and one that's often overlooked, is simply asking, could you explain the job in your own words? Now, that might sound basic.
Yeah, almost too basic. Maybe, but it's incredibly revealing. Job descriptions, you see, they're often static documents, maybe drafted months ago. But a company's current perspective on a role, that can evolve significantly, sometimes even day to day. So when you ask this, you're not just confirming what's written down. You're getting key insights into what they truly prioritize right now. You need to listen carefully for keywords, for challenges, aspirations, things that might not be spelled out.
That's a really clever way to uncover those hidden priorities and maybe adjust your own narrative in real time. So what should we be listening for specifically, and how do we frame that question so it doesn't sound like we just, didn't read the job description?
Good point. You want nuance. So frame it by saying something like, I've had a thorough read of the job description, which was very helpful. But it would be incredibly valuable to hear from your unique perspective how you would explain the core duties and priorities of this role. As for what to listen for, pay close attention to anything that seems different from the written description. Those differences often highlight unspoken needs or, emerging challenges. If they suddenly emphasize a skill that wasn't heavily featured in the description, boom, you know where to focus your follow-up questions.
And maybe even your thank you note later.
Exactly. Take detailed notes here. These are invaluable clues for the rest of the process.
Excellent point about tracking those subtle shifts. Okay, building on that understanding of the role's context. What about asking, what makes this role available? This isn't just being nosy, is it? It's about understanding the backstory.
Precisely. This question helps you understand the situation you might be stepping into. And that's critical for your own assessment. Is it an additional headcount? Meaning the team is growing, expanding. That's generally a positive sign, right? Company health.
Sure.
Is it a completely new role? Maybe part of a strategic initiative. That could suggest you'd have a hand in actually shaping the responsibilities. Exciting, yes, but also likely involves more ambiguity.
Right, you're building the plane as you fly it, potentially.
Could be. Or did someone leave? And if so, maybe why? If it is a replacement, a good follow-up could be, what was the biggest challenge the previous person faced? Or what made the last person successful here?
Or even what could have been improved.
Exactly. Knowing this context helps you assess the role's stability, the potential challenges, and ultimately if it's the right environment for you to thrive in.
And for those of us really looking for that long-term potential, I find this next question incredibly insightful. What kind of additional responsibilities can be gained over time in this role? And crucially, beyond just a title change.
Yeah, that's a great one. Our analysis of recent career trends, it reveals something interesting. While salary often grabs the headlines, it's a perceived runway for growth that consistently predicts long-term employee retention and satisfaction. Often, it outweighs even the initial compensation package.
Really, more than money.
Often, yes, for long-term sticking power. So, asking this demonstrates your focus isn't just short-term. It shows you're thinking about long-term engagement, making increasing contributions. It signals to the employer you're thinking strategically about your career path within their organization, not just seeing it as a quick stop. It shifts the whole conversation from, what's my next title, to how can I evolve and contribute more deeply here?
That's a subtle but really powerful signal you're sending. Okay, here's another strategic question, especially for understanding immediate impact. What do you want this role to accomplish in the first 90 days?
Ah, the 90-day question. Love this one. The employer's response to this. It basically hands you the exact information you need to craft a compelling, tailored answer to that inevitable "why should we hire you?" question.
Ah, okay, so it feeds directly into that.
Correctly. It shows you're already thinking about immediate impact, about success metrics, how you can quickly add value. That's incredibly impressive to any hiring manager. Plus, it gives you a benchmark for your own success if you get the job. And, if they can't articulate clear goals for 90 days, that's also an insight, isn't it? Maybe into the role's structure or clarity.
Good point. And if you find yourself interviewing with an executive, maybe a VP or C-level, there's an even more tailored question that really speaks their language. How do you measure success for this role?
Oh, yeah. Nothing makes a senior leader's ears perk up faster than a candidate who sounds data-driven and results-oriented. They live and breathe by metrics, by outcomes. So showing that you understand and value that perspective, it immediately positions you as someone who can contribute at a higher, more strategic level.
It shows you speak their language.
Exactly. And that you're focused on tangible results, not just, being busy.
Okay, finally, for this section on the role itself, and perhaps one of the most revealing questions you can ask to really get to the heart of the matter, what have been the biggest challenges for this role, or maybe for the team recently?
Yes. You absolutely want to know what's top of mind for them. What are their current pain points? Because knowing this allows you to focus your interview answers, not just on your general skills, but specifically on how you will address those particular challenges.
So you're positioning yourself as the solution.
Precisely. Ultimately, employers hire people they believe will solve problems and, frankly, make their lives easier. So align your value proposition directly to their needs. Show them you're not just a candidate, but the solution they've been looking for. And listen carefully to their answer. Are the challenges systemic? Are they project-specific? Temporary? Permanent? Your ability to then say, I faced a similar challenge in my last role, and here's how I tackled it. That's immensely powerful.
That's truly insightful. It really does flip the dynamic, doesn't it? From just answering questions to actively showing how you'd solve their specific problems. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's move from the role itself to the people you'll be working with. Let's talk about asking questions that not only build rapport, but also give you a valuable window into the company culture through the actual people you're talking to.
Building that genuine connection in an interview. It's incredibly strategic. We've looked at psychological studies, including some fascinating research from, I think it was Harvard's Social Cognitive Lab. And there's a consistent pattern. Getting interviewers to talk about their own journey. It isn't just polite, it actually taps into pleasure centers in their brain. It creates a more memorable and, frankly, positive interaction.
Makes them feel good about the conversation.
Exactly. The key here, though, is to do a little homework first. Look them up on LinkedIn, check the company website, and tailor your questions specifically to their background and role. Customize questions. They really set you apart from just generic inquiries.
Right. So, for example, a great way to impress them and show you actually did your homework could be something like, I saw you've been at the company for, say, 5 years. How has your own role evolved, and maybe how has the company itself transformed during your time here? It invites a personal story, not just a stock answer.
Exactly. It allows them to reflect on their own journey, which is inherently more engaging for them than simply asking that tired old question, why do you like working here?
which usually gets a pretty generic answer, right?
Usually, you want to prompt a story, not just a one-line answer. Or you could try something like, what initially drew you to this company, and looking back now, has the experience aligned with, or maybe even surpassed, your initial expectations?
Mm.
Again, it encourages a more personal, more layered response. It avoids that short, potentially awkward silence you really dread after a question falls flat.
And here's a powerful strategy that maybe doesn't get talked about enough. Don't save all your questions for the very end. Try to weave them naturally throughout the conversation. Oh, absolutely. That is such a key point. This approach transforms the interview from a rigid Q&A back and forth into a genuine dynamic conversation. And that is a really powerful strategy for landing job offers. It makes the whole interaction feel much more authentic, less like an interrogation.
Yeah, more collaborative.
Right. If they mention a project, maybe one you have experience with, jump in with a relevant question right then and there. Don't just hold it. It shows you're actively listening, you're engaged in the moment.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, moving specifically to the team you'd potentially be joining, we often hear that phrase, people don't leave companies, they leave managers. So understanding the team and the leadership dynamics seems crucial. What questions can help eliminate those factors?
Yeah, understanding the manager's leadership style and the broader team dynamics, that gives you huge insight into whether this is truly the right job for you. So a key question to consider is, could you describe your leadership style and maybe how it typically impacts the team's day-to-day? This helps you gauge if their approach actually aligns with your preferred working style. Are they hands-on, hands-off, somewhere in between?
Exactly. You could also ask, who would I be collaborating with most closely on a daily basis? Just to get a sense of that immediate team structure. And then to understand the team's culture, maybe.
Yeah.
What are the common work styles or communication preferences within this specific team? This helps you really envision your fit and anticipate what that collaborative environment might actually feel like.
These questions offer a real glimpse into the day-to-day reality, which is just invaluable, isn't it? Okay, we've covered a lot of these high-value strategic questions, the ones that really showcase your critical thinking and your interest. But there are also logistical questions that are, important to address too. How should we approach those?
Right, the logistical ones. They're certainly important, but a key point is they shouldn't be your only questions. And probably shouldn't be the first ones you lead with either.
Good point.
Questions like, what does the interview process look like from here? Or what are the typical next steps? And of course, when should I expect to hear back about the next stage? These are vital for understanding the timing and how to follow up effectively, no doubt. But on their own, they don't really showcase your value as a candidate in the same way. So make sure you balance them with the more strategic, value-driven questions we've been talking about. Think of them as necessary, but maybe not the questions that will differentiate you.
Okay, that's a good distinction. Necessary, but not differentiating. All right, let's address the elephant in the room, the one almost every candidate struggles with. The money question, compensation. When, and maybe more importantly, how do we even begin to approach talking about salary?
Ah, yes, the compensation question. It's a big one. A really critical point to consider here is that while it's very tempting, you should generally not ask about compensation in the very first interview.
Not at all.
Generally, no. Doing so can inadvertently make you seem, well, maybe overly focused on the salary rather than the role's fit and the opportunity itself. It can potentially create a negative first impression, unfortunately. Our recommendation, based on seeing this play out countless times, is to hold off until the later rounds. Typically when you've had at least 2, maybe 3 conversations. Because at that stage, they've had more time to really see your value, they're more invested in you potentially joining, which crucially gives you significantly more negotiation power. Waiting pays off here.
Okay, so wait until later rounds. But what if they bring it up early? What if they ask you about your salary requirements in that first or second conversation? How do you handle that gracefully without giving away too much? Or maybe worse, underselling yourself right from the start? It feels like such a delicate dance.
It is. It's a common scenario, and it can feel tricky. A great counter question, one that puts you in a strong position without being difficult, is something like this.
That's a great question. I'm still learning more about the full scope and the specific responsibilities of the role. So before I give a number, I'd love to understand what the established pay range for this particular position is.
Ah, okay. Turn it back to them.
Exactly. It puts the ball back in their court. It prompts them to provide the salary band first. This prevents you from accidentally under-asking or maybe even over-asking and pricing yourself out. It ensures you're operating within their established parameters, and it preserves your negotiation leverage for those later stages. It's a polite but firm way to gather the information you need without committing yourself too early in the process. What a fantastic exploration of the art and science behind crafting these winning interview questions. It's so clear that your questions are not just simple inquiries, are they? They're a powerful tool, a direct reflection of your critical thinking, your genuine interest, and your overall value as a candidate. This isn't just about asking, it's really about strategizing every single question to maximize your impact and also gain those critical insights for yourself.
Yeah. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, navigating your career, mastering these questions really empowers you. It helps you transform an interview from what can feel like a one-sided interrogation
Yeah.
into a genuine, two-way, insightful conversation. You're not just being interviewed, you're actively evaluating the opportunity, the team, the leadership, and that enables you to make a truly informed decision about your next career step. That proactive approach would put you in an incredibly powerful position.
Absolutely. So go forth and ask those brilliant questions. We really hope these insights empower you listening today to approach your next interview with renewed confidence, curiosity, and definitely a strategic mindset. Remember, the best interviews truly are engaging conversations, and with these tools, you really hold the power to shape them. We encourage you to tune in again or maybe subscribe to the Interview Mock Lab channel for more tips and strategies to help you navigate your career journey. Until next time, keep learning, keep asking those great questions, and keep succeeding.